I'm here in Vallejo, California at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I'm about to hop on. As you can see here, Galactic Attack. It's a converted Kong roller coaster that brings a little Samsung Gear VR into the action. Mixed reality experience. Can't wait to check it out. Let's go do it. I don't know, am I tall enough for this ride? All right, looking forward to this. I think I've been skillfully just kind of like in denial in my head. And now I don't think I can do that anymore.
Can you let me know if you see the Six Flags logo with front around it?
I see that, yep. I see everything around me with a bunch of kind of augmented stuff around it. All right, you're recording?
Yeah.
Oh dear God. Bye-bye. See you in another world. All right, so I definitely feel like I'm actually not on a roller coaster, kind of.
Really?
Well, I mean, looking around, like it's easy to trick my brain into thinking I'm just like watching a video. But
whoa, what's that?
I don't know, but I'm a little scared about what that might mean. Yep, we're in space.
Okay.
And we're about to die. Ah! Oh! Nice! Get him, get him, get him! Wow, this is really weird.
Are you shooting the things?
I don't know what I got. I think so. Holy crap. Oh, wait. Oh, man, I only just now realized that when I move around, you actually shoot.
We survived.
Hey, I'm standing here with Charles Loriano, maintenance supervisor for one of the strangest mixed reality experiences I think I've ever had with the roller coaster here. Thanks for letting us kind of relive a childhood dream of having the theme park to ourselves today.
You got it.
I really appreciate it.
It's a special experience, isn't it?
It's really super cool. So tell us a little bit about the coaster that we have here that's been around since the 90s. It was Kong for a really long time. Is it still called Kong, even though the experience changes all the time?
Yeah, it's still Kong. It's just with the New Revolution Galactic Attack VR experience.
Which, I mean, you change these experiences, it sounds like, pretty regularly. Is the idea to kind of take old coasters and kind of make them fresh and new for people coming to the theme park?
Right. It's a great opportunity for us to use this technology to freshen up some of our rides, and we're able to switch things up whenever we really want.
Yeah.
So we ran Gargoyle Attack in October of last year, and now we're running the New Revolution Galactic Attack now.
How do those two experiences differ?
So anytime we do anything, we always try to upgrade, right? We use pass-through technology now, which we didn't have before with Gargoyles. And Galactic Attack, you know, you're able to sit down and it's mixed reality. You can see what's going on around you. And then when you saw when you got to the top of the lift, you punch through that wormhole, and suddenly you're in space and you're fighting all the drones and the aliens.
See, and I didn't even realize until the end of the first run through that I was participating. I wasn't just sitting there passively flying through space. I was actually fighting. You know, it was actually a battle that, based on where I was looking, I was shooting down ships and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we actually worked with VR coasters. We put Easter eggs in there. If you actually hit the drones, the different colored ones, there's a red one, a green one, and a blue one. If you hit them in a certain order, you can actually get an alternate ending at the end of the ride.
Oh, no way.
So you can literally ride it, you know, 100 times and get a different experience every time that you ride the ride.
So you mentioned VR Coaster. VR Coaster is the company that you work hand in hand with to kind of sync up the ride itself with a virtual experience. Tell us a little bit about kind of that process and you know, acting, I don't know, as a sort of liaison between them.
So it's actually a really cool process. We come in and we log the spline data of the ride. So we send around a phone with a program on it, and we're able to see where the track is rising, dipping, turning, inverting,
all that kind of,
right? So that we can build the virtual world around that spline data, and then match it once we're out here testing it out at the actual park.
Okay, and so that means that you have to ride it like 100 times in order to get
Sometimes,
that right?
yeah. So we actually start with a very basic layer in the virtual world. So like the first time I rode it, it was empty space almost.
Right.
And you were just flying around, and then we would add a drone here and an alien there and a ship here until we ended up with the experience that you had today.
I know the first time that I heard of we take a roller coaster and we mix it with virtual reality, and like my immediate response was, you don't need to do that. It's a roller coaster. Roller coasters are crazy in and of themselves. But then you go through the experience, and I mean, it really is like entering a different world. How has the public, how have they warmed up to it?
It's been great. People love it. The Galactic Attack, especially with the Easter eggs and the space theme, is really excited, I think, with Galactic Attack. And it's already an exciting roller coaster, right? And adding the VR technology layer on top of that really steps it up and takes it up to the next level.
All right, so just so you know, I'm riding there at the end with Kara, one of the engineers.
Kara
here.
Cole, one of our engineers, did this.
She is deathly afraid of roller coasters.
She's like me. She doesn't do roller coasters.
She was adamant to not ride the roller coaster. And we talked her into it because we were like, you know what, when you put the VR goggles on, it actually kind of softens the blow. She ended up riding it again. But I will say that first time through, while we were riding, her like scream, I could not tell if she was crying or having fun.
You heard it. You heard it on the...
And I was really afraid when we were going. I was like, wow, this is a really bad idea. But thankfully, she had a good time.
On the line with us right now, the CEO and co-founder of VR Coaster, Thomas Wagner. How many parks? Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, Thomas.
You're not getting me on it, but that looked cool. How many parks are using this?
Oh, I think we have equipped well over 30 rides all over the world.
Neat.
And it should be around 25 parks worldwide. Some parks have several rides equipped, so I would have to look that up. But
I'm thinking, we were speculating while we were watching this, it's probably not a huge expense for these parks. You get a phone and a Gear VR, maybe $1,000, and they get a complete upgrade of their ride. I mean, that's a fraction of what you'd cost to have to rebuild the ride. So I could see that it's economical for them.
Especially if you compare it with the pricing of a new roller coaster.
Yeah.
And what we found when we started doing this stuff is that even people who really know a roller coaster ride by heart, they do not know where they are located in the track during the VR experience. And every time you change the VR experience, actually it feels like a totally new ride. I mean, you have some elements that are always in there because it's physically, you have a looping at one point or a barrel roll, but what you do with those is it can be totally different. And that's also something that we did with the Galactic Attack. For instance, it's not only what drones you're shooting. At some points, you can even make a selection if you go left or right, if you go around the space station or you go into the cave in the asteroid. And you will encounter different spaceships over there, and you can get different weaponry. And if you look to the left, we slightly move you to the left at the point in the coaster where you don't recognize this offset. And this is a totally new level of interaction, actually, what we brought in here.
It's like choose your own adventure, but for roller coasters.
Well, and I can see how it would improve the repeat customers, right? Because you want to do it again. You learn something you want to try, like a game, you want to do it again. What I find interesting is Thomas's background is not as a amusement park ride designer. You're a professor.
Yes, actually, this whole company, this whole project, this technology, this was born out of a project. I'm teaching at the University of Applied Sciences in Kaiserslautern, Germany, and we have a virtual reality course, and that was back then when the Oculus Rift came out and everybody was going for VR, and the Oculus Rift opened up so many possibilities, and I wanted to do something that hasn't been done before, that was new. And one big thing was everybody was keen on these roller coaster demos. It was a big thing. Everybody was riding these or testing these coaster simulations with the Oculus Rift. Mm-hmm. And then you saw these videos on the web where people rode that sitting on a chair or even standing. Yeah. And they were tumbling, they were getting dizzy, and they were very impressive. But after a few minutes, everybody got really dizzy and you got really sick because you have this strong offset between what your eyes see, what is very convincing visually, but your inner sense of balance doesn't feel that.
This is a problem
that
in the
makes it
industry
busy.
as a whole. I mean,
Yeah,
this is one of the things that's held back VR, is that a certain percentage, maybe 10, 11% of everybody who uses it gets nauseous. So how do you,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to offer this at an amusement park, you can't say, oh, by the way, 1 in 10 of you is going to throw up. How do you fix this
Yeah,
problem?
I think this is the point, because I think we can say this is the only setup in the industry where you can have some really intense, fast motion with turns, sharp turns, and loopings, where you do not get dizzy. Because the idea was, I wanted to test if we have these kind of visuals, this ride through a VR world, synchronized to a real roller coaster ride. So we have those motions. And when you go around a curve, when you go into a looping or something, your body and your inner sense of balance, actually your inner ear, feels that motion.
How hard was it to get to match the VR with the movement of the roller coaster? How are you doing that?
Yeah, actually, it needs to be in sync very precisely. So it actually gives you that feeling that it's really belonging together. It's matching up.
Is it dead reckoning? It looks like it was doing some dead reckoning.
Yeah, actually, we need to develop some hardware to do that automatically. The very first rides we did, I went up to Mark Rides, the roller coaster manufacturer. It's a renowned German manufacturer, and told them about my idea. And luckily, the Mark family not only do own Mark Rides, but also Europa Park, which is a very big, actually the biggest seasonal park in Europe. And they built most of the coasters they have there. And they let us do these tests. And eventually, we, together with the Mark family and Michael Mack and Mark Rides, we founded this company. And we did a lot of tests in top secret, late at night. Or at least in summer, it was late at night. You see those
like
videos.
the guy in the back there. So there's normal riders, but there's a guy in the back with Oculus Rift on.
Yeah, these were actually our students. These were we had 3 positions in the train where we had a computer with an Oculus Rift. These were the first experiments we did.
Wow.
And the very first ride, just to answer your question.
Oh, this poor woman has a laptop. Oh my God, this guy's got a laptop.
Very professional. This was a smaller coaster. We just had the laptop wrapped around with we tied it to our knees, you know. But on the bigger
it's duct taped in. Oh my God.
This was really weird. I mean, there was no Gear VR around back then.
Right.
We had to do it with this hardware, you know.
Is the Gear VR
you see
fast
in
enough?
those
And if I mean, Oculus requires a $1,500 computer.
Right.
Is the phone in that Gear VR fast enough to do this? Obviously,
Absolutely.
it is.
Yes, yes. I mean, the trick is not only, I mean, these are powerful phones. You can do a lot with real-time graphics. But what we do now is we combine real-time graphics with pre-rendered stuff. So what you saw in the Galactic attack, the drones that you shoot and the cockpit where you sit in, and actually the pilot, the co-pilot next to you, who actually reacts when you look at him, that's real-time graphics. And everything around you in open space, that is a pre-rendered environment. And that's pretty. This video explains it basically. We call it hybrid VR because we have this quite impressive 60 frames per second, 4K resolution, stereoscopic 3D video. So it's actually for both eyes. We have this 4K stream, and it's actually streaming on a phone at 60 frames per second. I found it very impressive when our team managed to do that.
But because it's pre-rendered, you can really have that be high quality.
Right.
Which one is synced to your movement, though? Both of them?
Yes, of course. I mean, everything is basically designed in one go. So we have this huge real-time scenery, but of course, everything that happens in real time needs to react, as you see in those videos, to what happens in this pre-rendered world.
Right.
And it gives you a lot of opportunity because if you look down and watch your body, you need to have this parallax. You can actually look around your body when you move your head. So that needs to be real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything you shoot in that world needs to be able to explode. So it needs to be real time.
Yeah, I mean, while we were riding, I looked over at Kara, and Kara looked over at me, and there was her avatar there with her head. It was, you know, all that motion tracking was
so
happening.
cool.
So, you know, that increased the immersion, right? Kara was, in fact, sitting next to me, and I saw her looking and talking to me and then pointing out, you know.
Now
really
I want
cool.
to try it.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
You kind of talked me into this. Well, I would never ride that roller coaster with for $1 million without it. But
it softens the blow.
I think it feels like it would be more fun with it. And I don't know, maybe you could
I think people don't, when they put on the VR headset, they don't expect any harm from this video game world, you know? Yeah. And I mean, we have heights in there, we have speed and stuff, but it's not the real reality. You don't have that real vertigo in there, so you feel a little bit more comfortable. And I think that helps a lot. And we had very good response. And you saw in the video, you saw that technology that basically synchronizes these headsets, because you mentioned the Gear VR and the Samsung phones. The beauty in here is we don't have any wires or cables or stuff, so people can just take their headset and carry it and test it already when they're waiting in the queue line and put it on. And the synchronization with the ride actually is working on Bluetooth based. So it's all wireless. And
are there little Bluetooth sensors in the track?
No, we actually have, as you see in that video, we have a sensor that is tracking the rotation of a wheel of the roller coaster.
So it's dead reckoning with the wheel motion. So you know exactly where on the track you are.
Right, and that you're coming into a curve and turning upside down and everything. One question I have for you is about limitations. I mean, VR as a technology is evolving right now, and it certainly has its kind of limitations in resolution. It might not be as sharp as people would like. What's a technology that you hope improves enough to kind of tackle I don't know, an issue that you'd like to solve in your experience?
I mean, resolution is kind of decent already. I mean, the Gear VR does a great job with those phones, and I think this is already good. And what we also tried to do, and actually it worked very well with the Galactic Attack, was this see-through thing. So what we do is kind of mixed reality. Mostly it's called augmented reality, but to be precise, it's mixed reality. So we have the people start in the see-through mode, and we distort the video that comes through the camera of the phone. It's like a Terminator view, you have that vision with those numbers and some lines, and like the environment gets tracked. And then we integrate in what you see, this wormhole that brings you into the VR world. And the intention was that Six Flags asked us, hey, could you do something where the guests can actually see each other, and they can see the operator. If somebody talks to them, hey, they know this guy's talking to me. Makes operations easier. It makes them maybe feel more comfortable. I even read a comment on the web that where people are glad to have still this sizzling feeling when they go up the lift hill, because they still see. We are actually on a coaster. We are going up the lift hill. So
that's anticipation.
There are many.
So it's augmented reality, because you have the real video. And then you go to the pure VR once you're going down, once you go through the wormhole.
The one thing is that is not possible, because it's only one camera. It's just monoscopic. You wouldn't be able to have people walk up to the coaster and sit down with that single monoscopic camera. It's not. They would stumble. They would fall. You can't estimate how far is that chair away. So that would be the next step, to have real convincing augmented or mixed reality. And above and beyond what the HoloLens, for instance, can do. I mean, the HoloLens is a great device. We're doing tests with that. But it can only let you add some things to that real environment around you. So you can't do anything about the environment. You can only see what is being able to build in the real world. And you can add a ghost or a monster or something. But when you have this see-through with a VR headset, if you have this total immersive VR screen in front of you, you can do everything. You can place people everywhere you like. And if you can combine that with a stereoscopic see-through, that would be really, really a breakthrough. And I think there's a lot of potential still to do that. And we are developing, also looking into developing our own headset technology and to pushing those limits. And of course, we are not only looking at roller coasters. We are, just as we speak, equipping drop tower rides. We have equipped last year in December the very first drop tower ride in Lotte World in Seoul in Korea. And now we have equipped already 2 drop towers at Six Flags. and at Six Flags parks, and this is also a very, very intense experience.
Another ride I'm never going on. Do you think that
I'm afraid of heights. I never, when I did those test rides, I never took off the headset. You know.
What are you simulating a drop tower? What are you looking at?
Oh, actually, the thing is, you have a lot of time when you're growing up to do gaming and storytelling. So actually, at the drop tower at Six Flags over Georgia, you're a gunner sitting on the side of a helicopter, and you're shooting at some
and then you fall out,
like aliens.
And then you fall out.
It's like, kind of, like Starship Troopers. So you have these big monsters, and eventually one of those monsters hits your helicopter. Actually, it hits one of those mech robots, and that robot hits your helicopter, and you fall down. And you know, the cool thing is, and this was just an experiment, we didn't even know if that works, but it worked great. When you sit on these drop tower rides, you're just sitting there like I do in a chair. And you're just looking straight ahead. You're going up, falling down. And in the moment we fall down in VR, we are tilting the camera by 90 degrees. So you're facing 90 degrees down. And because you have zero gravity during the drop, and you just feel the wind going everywhere, you totally buy it.
Man, that sounds great.
You're facing 90 degrees down and falling.
I'm getting nauseous just thinking about it.
It's really great.
Did it cure you, Thomas, of your fear of heights?
Yeah, I do have fear of heights.
Yeah, did it fix that?
I do not take off that headset. But in VR, it's boiling down to having this zero gravity, you know? This is also what is so cool about the roller coasters, because in all those cool simulation rides that we had for years, in many cool parks, you have these simulator rides that are tilting back and forth. You only have this 1G. You're just sitting there.
Yeah, because you're not really going anywhere. They can't press you in the back of the seat or anything.
Yeah, you never have increased G-forces or negative G-forces or zero G. And when you go on these huge roller coasters, they have these so-called airtime hills where you go like in this parabolic curve. And over that entire curve, you feel zero gravity. And that wasn't, you never had that combination of a simulated world, a simulation ride with zero gravity, well over a few seconds. And also those increased G-forces that push you really down or lift you up out of your chair. You didn't have that. And this setup gives you, therefore, it's a totally new kind of attraction.
Now, this is all fun and games, but does this apply to your research and how we might be using AR and VR in the future for other things, for productivity, for user interfaces, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is all about entertainment and having this kind of experience that hasn't been around. And I think there are many aspects about VR where companies went just for the marketing aspect, just using VR because it's cool, because it's just the hot stuff. And only a few things or a few use cases will stay there because they are not, it's not possible to do it without VR and also AR. And I think what we do is very theme park related and gaming related, and that's what Six Flags is looking at. We don't have at the moment any development where people could maybe create their own worlds. That's some idea that we had already, so people could maybe create their own roller coaster ride in an application and then walk up to the park and use their own headset. And I think, to come back to the question, AR, VR will open up this customization of some experience in a theme park or in a department store or anywhere. So you could basically, whatever you experience in a location, this location-based VR can be customized by you, by the guest, by the visitors. Right now, we have to prepare that, and we have to give people and guests the headset on site because nobody carries that with them.
VR coaster.
Everybody has one, you know, and then you can just design maybe your own roller coaster ride or download it at home, test it, and walk up to the park and give it a try.
Wouldn't that be wild? Oh my God. VRcoaster.com.
Also looking at equipping different kinds of attractions. We are also developing walkthrough mazes where you could actually add up VR. And this is basically a very good opportunity to add up with augmented reality, like the HoloLens.
Right.
So if you walk through some kind of Halloween horror maze, and all of a sudden there's this ghost creature in front of you.
Yikes.
I totally see that. That would be a very good use case for that.
It's neat because it shows that the hardware now, even with the Gear VR, is up to the snuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
To do this kind of thing. It's very exciting. Yeah. VRcoaster.com. Thomas Wagner is a co-founder and CEO and a professor at the University of Applied Sciences at Kaiserslautern. Wow. Kaiserslautern.
Yes.
That's amazing. And what a fun class project this turned out to
kidding,
be.
Right?
Yeah, it was very popular.